Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unbiased Truth with your host, Branson. And today we're here to talk about the newest big feud that's erupted in right wing politics among Republicans. The feud between Ben Shapiro and the other MAGA types versus Nick Fuentes and the new rising power of his Groyper movement. And they've been disagreeing and been beefing for a very long time, since like 2018 or something like that, when Nick Fuentes had some issues with Charlie Kirk and stuff like that, and he would boycott his tours, when he was doing his public speaking events and stuff like that, and especially Ben Shapiro. But he's never truly went away. But after Israel's war on Palestine and the acts they've been doing there, Fuentes has gotten increasingly much more popular with people on the right, especially among young MAGA Gen Z types. And that's mostly because of his views on Israel and that the U.S. shouldn't be subsidizing Israel constantly, especially with the acts that they keep on persisting to do. And Ben Shapiro obviously is a firm believer in Israel and the Israel-American alliance and stuff like that, and represents the older conservative type who believes in the same. Mostly because a lot of people are evangelical and they believe that that's tied to their stance with Israel. And the more extreme religious types have believe that Israel will be in the end of days, and so that we should be friends with Israel. And that's where the root of their belief system lies. But Fuentes, and the Groypers and the younger MAGA types don't think we should, because most Gen Z people and younger people in general on both sides, especially the Democrats, hate Israel for the most part. And they probably will never like Israel. Israel's completely, at this point, lost support among future American voters and politicians. And that's going to be a tough hill for them to climb back from, to be honest. But even more astonishing is that Ben Shapiro got super mad at Tucker Carlson for having Nick Fuentes on a show a week ago or something like that, and he denounced him and stuff like that. Like, here, I have the article pulled up here. Um, yeah, he just denounced him and stuff like that for for he said promoting Nick Fuentes for having him on his show and stuff like that. But Tucker Carlson has been much more critical of Israel too, and and the conservative movement, the MAGA movement, is already showing a lot of cracks and divides about who truly is MAGA and stuff like that, and who's not. Because what's happened is that Nick Fuentes and younger people have realized that Ben Shapiro really isn't Make America Great Again. He's not really for that. He's more for kind of make Israel great again. He has a lot of ties with Israel, and he thinks we should just support him no matter what. Luckily, he did not say he supported ground troops in support of Israel in the Middle East, but everything short of that, pretty much. And he's gotten more extreme in the last couple of years because of that. And Fuentes represents a shift in the younger demographics, believing that we need to be more strategic with our alliances and can't support a nation that's committing genocide and being denounced itself around the world from every other country, including China and North Korea and Iran. So that's not really good. But I agree with it that we should be more strategic with our alliances, and we can't just support an alliance just because we always have and stuff like that. And they're bashing the democracy in the Middle East, and they still are, the most Western country there. But that also inhibits our ability to garner support and agree with other countries in the area because of what Israel's doing, and that's just a fact. But Tucker Carlson believes that you can't let someone just get more popular and let them just simmer in the shadows, like that. Like, and he was willing to have a conversation with him, and that's what anyone should be willing to do. But Ben Shapiro's apparently more in favor of cancel culture and just shutting people down and just never talking about them, never talking about their issues that they have, and that only breeds much more extremist positions and thoughts, and that's what's happened. But yeah, it's exploded, and Ben Shapiro has been called out as being a hypocrite and not being truthful to MAGA, and this also underlies what Nick Fuentes has been very much taking issues with Trump as well, because he said no new wars and all this stuff, and he already bombed Iran, and you could say, oh yeah, that's for the to prevent them from building a nuke. They've been saying that since like the early '90s, build a nuke. And anyways, if they really build a nuke, they're gonna have mutually assured destruction anyways. So, but that was probably covered. And anyways, they definitely moved all their stuff out through secret tunnels, all their weapons and stuff to build all the high enriched uranium. But anyway, so he nuked Iran. He's thinking about doing an actual invasion in Venezuela. He's thinking of doing intervention to help the Christians in Nigeria. All this stuff. And he's already done other stuff. He's been bombing the Venezuelan boats. Whether you could say that's, for drugs or whatever like that. Truth is, the government has a lot of stuff that we don't know. And that's usually not the case of what they're doing. They're usually doing it for some other underlying reason and stuff like that. But Trump has already had, we've already have issues, and he's gonna start more new wars, and he hasn't even ended the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. So like, yeah, that is a total, to be true, that's a total failure of the Trump administration. And if they start more new wars, whatever you say, oh yeah, that's what we gotta do, support Christians around the world. Okay, I understand that, but you said no new wars. You can't have more wars and then get mad when people are saying, hey, you said there's gonna be no new wars. So yeah, this issue's been simmering for a very long time about who's truly America first or not. And yeah, so we'll see how this all plays out in the very end. So let me know in the comments. All right, thank you.